Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, where ordinary coins turn into extraordinary stories, and sometimes, into extraordinary money. If you've ever glanced at an old quarter and wondered if it might be worth more than 25 cents, you're not alone. But what if I told you that a quarter you've likely seen before, a coin made in massive numbers, might be hiding in plain sight with the potential to be worth more than most luxury cars? In today's video, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most iconic and mysterious coins in American history, the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Washington Quarter Dollar. This isn't just any old quarter. This is a coin with a patriotic twist, a unique design, and for a select few collectors, a value that defies expectations. That we're going to break down what makes this coin special, what to look for in terms of mint marks and errors, and how to tell if the quarter you've got sitting in a drawer or piggy bank might just be the hidden gem that collectors dream about. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Let's start with a bit of historical context. The year 1976 wasn't just another year for the United States, it was the bicentennial, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The entire country was in celebration mode. There were parades, fireworks, commemorative stamps, and yes, you guessed it, special edition coins. To honor this milestone, the U.S. Mint released a set of unique coins featuring dual dates, 1776 to 1976. Among them were special versions of the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins, each with their own redesigned reverse to reflect the patriotic spirit of the bicentennial. For the Washington quarter, this meant a temporary departure from the familiar eagle-on-a-branch reverse. Instead, the U.S. Mint unveiled a brand new design, a colonial drummer standing proudly in his uniform, playing a snare drum, with a victory torch encircled by 13 stars just above. It was a bold and symbolic image, a tribute to the early fight for American freedom. This reverse design was the winning submission by artist Jack L. Ahr and remains one of the most memorable designs in modern coinage. On the obverse, President George Washington's bust still reigns, but what catches the eye immediately is the unusual dual date, 1776 to 1976. A reminder that this isn't just any quarter, this one was struck to celebrate 2 centuries of American independence. Now, here's something that often surprises people. These bicentennial quarters were made in massive quantities. Millions upon millions were struck and released into circulation. They were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, and San Francisco, S mint mark. Most of these coins are still out there, and most are worth just their face value or slightly more if they're in good condition. So what makes some of them worth hundreds, thousands, or more? The answer lies in minting varieties, errors, and metal composition. Let's talk mint marks first. The coins minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark. Denver quarters have a small D on the obverse, while San Francisco coins feature an S. Most S-marked coins are proof coins, meaning they were made with extra care for collectors and never meant to be spent. They typically have a mirror-like shine and razor-sharp detail, but the real treasure is found in a few very specific versions of the bicentennial quarter. First up, the 40% silver variety. That's right, most of the bicentennial quarters were made from the standard copper-nickel clad composition. But the U.S. Mint also struck a limited number of 40% silver quarters, available only in special collector sets from the San Francisco Mint. These are often marked with an S, and they feel slightly heavier. These silver coins are much more valuable, especially in pristine, uncirculated, or proof condition. Next, we have error coins, and this is where things get very interesting. Some bicentennial quarters were struck with misaligned dies, resulting in off-center designs. Others were double-struck, showing faint ghost images of letters or the drummer's outline. A few even have clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a minting mistake. Then there are die cracks, where part of the die used to strike the coin was damaged, causing raised lines across the surface of the coin. These errors are all incredibly rare and can send a collector's heart racing. Even more fascinating are rumors, backed by a few authenticated cases, of bicentennial quarters struck on the wrong planchets. That means the coin was mistakenly made using a blank meant for a different coin, like a half-dollar or even a foreign coin. These rare minting anomalies can boost a quarter's value into the thousands, or more, and then, of course, we can't forget about condition and grading. The grading scale for coins goes from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS 70, mint state 70, is flawless, even under magnification. Coins that achieve MS 65 or higher are already considered high grade, and their value increases exponentially. Combine that with rarity, a mint error, or silver content, and you're looking at a truly valuable piece of numismatic history. So how can you tell if your 1776 to 1976 quarter is special? Start by checking the mint mark. An S means it might be a proof or silver coin. Next, check the coin's edge. If you see a solid silver line without the copper core visible, you might have one of the silver varieties. Weighing the coin can also help. Silver quarters weigh slightly more. Then, inspect both sides of the coin carefully under good light. Look for any doubling, die cracks, off-center strikes, or other abnormalities. If you think you found something unusual, don't try to clean it. Cleaning coins destroys their value. Instead, have it professionally graded and authenticated, because now, here's the most important part. Among the millions of bicentennial quarters that were minted, a tiny number stand out as exceptional rarities, either because they were struck on silver planchets with perfect detail, or because of dramatic, one-of-a-kind minting errors. These are the coins that serious collectors and auction houses go crazy for, and yes, some of them have sold for jaw-dropping prices. One such 1776 to 1976 Washington Bicentennial Quarter, featuring a rare mint error and preserved in immaculate condition, has reached a staggering auction value of $175,000. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter. Worth that much. It's not a myth. It's a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hold extraordinary secrets. Today's journey takes us straight to the heart of American currency with a coin that many overlook, yet for a few lucky collectors, it has proven to be unbelievably valuable. Yes, we're talking about the United States 1971 Washington quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, 1971? That doesn't sound too old. I see quarters like that all the time. And you're right, millions of these coins were minted, and they're still commonly found in circulation today. But what if I told you that hidden among the ordinary, there are a few special 1971 quarters that are anything but typical? Some of them carry rare features, secret errors, and mysterious origins that make them worth far, far more than just 25 cents. So, grab a seat, get comfortable, and stick with us to the very end, because we're going to uncover everything you need to know about the 1971 Washington quarter, including how to spot the rare ones, what mint marks to look for, and how some of these coins have become the crown jewels of serious collectors. And yes, at the very end, we'll reveal just how much one of these little coins has been valued at. Trust me, you won't believe the number. Let's go back to 1971. The United States was in a period of big change. Vietnam was still raging. The civil rights movement had shifted culture. The first microprocessors were being developed, setting the stage for the digital age. And meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was quietly continuing its duty of producing coins for the nation's growing economy. The Washington quarter had already been in circulation since 1932, when it was introduced to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse of the coin features a striking portrait of Washington, based on a bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon. It's dignified, classic, and unmistakably American. The reverse design, used until 1998, features an eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath it. This imagery reflects the balance between strength and peace, war and diplomacy, key elements in the story of America. By 1971, the quarter had seen some changes, most notably in its composition. The silver quarters of earlier decades were gone. Since 1965, quarters had been made of a copper-nickel clad, with a copper core sandwiched between two outer layers of cupronickel. The result was a silvery look but without the precious metal content. So what's the big deal with the 1971 quarter? Well, here's where things get interesting. Though most 1971 quarters are common and worth no more than face value, there are a few versions that are extremely rare. These rare coins either contain minting errors, unusual compositions, or are in such pristine condition that their value skyrockets. Let's start with mint marks. In 1971, Washington quarters were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Quarters from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, quarters from Denver feature a small D on the right side of Washington's ponytail, and quarters from San Francisco have an S mint mark and were typically issued as proof coins. Most of the valuable 1971 quarters fall into 2 categories: proof errors from San Francisco, and rare minting mistakes from Denver or Philadelphia. Let's break it down. Point 1. Of the most famous rare varieties is the 1971 S-proof quarter struck on the wrong planchet, sometimes struck on a nickel or dime blank. These are incredibly rare because they shouldn't exist at all. These mistakes occurred during the minting process when the wrong metal blank was fed into the machine. The result? A coin that looks like a quarter but is the size or weight of something else. Collectors love these because they're physical proof of a mistake that slipped through the tight controls of the US Mint. Then we have the off-center strikes, coins where the image is visibly shifted, sometimes with a blank crescent of metal showing where no design was struck. Others have double dies, where parts of the image, like the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust, appear doubled or shadowed. These mistakes are rare and can be worth hundreds or thousands, depending on how dramatic and well-preserved they are. And then there are the planchet errors, such as coins with clipped edges or laminations, where the outer layers peel or separate. While they may look like damage, in many cases, they're genuine minting defects, and they drive collectors wild. But one factor that massively increases a coin's value is its condition. Collectors use a 70-point scale called the Sheldon grading scale to assess coins. A coin graded MS 60, mint state, is considered uncirculated but may have minor flaws. An MS 65 is sharply struck with minimal imperfections. But the elite coins? They're MS 67 or higher, flawless under magnification, with perfect luster and sharp details. Now here's the real kicker: only a tiny fraction of coins from 1971 were preserved well enough to be graded at this high level. Remember, these coins were made for circulation, used in daily life, passed from hand to hand, and spent at stores and vending machines. Very few were carefully stored or protected from the moment they were minted. So if you find a 1971 quarter that looks uncirculated, no scratches, no wear, full original luster, you might just have something special. And if that coin also has a rare error or comes from a low production proof set, its value can soar. Here's a pro tip: if you think you have a valuable coin, never clean it. Cleaning can scratch the surface and strip it of its original finish, instantly reducing its value. Instead, handle it gently by the edges, and store it in a coin holder or flip until you can have it appraised by a professional. Now, after everything we've covered, mint marks, composition, errors, proof coins, grading, you're probably wondering, what's the ceiling on value for a 1971 Washington quarter? Well, while most are worth pocket change, and some rare varieties go for hundreds or even thousands, there exists a very small number of 1,971 quarters that stand far above the rest. These are coins that combine multiple rare factors: dramatic mint errors, proof level quality, and top-tier grades from professional grading companies. They're unicorns in the numismatic world, and yes, one of these rare 1971 Washington quarter dollars has been appraised and auctioned for a jaw-dropping value of $195,000. Just imagine, something you might have in your spare change could be worth more than a luxury car, a college education, or even a down payment on a home. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story behind a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket, your drawer, or in a dusty collection somewhere: the United States Washington quarter dollar from the year 1974. At first glance, a 1974 quarter might seem pretty ordinary. After all, millions were minted, and they've been in circulation for decades. But as you'll soon discover, the 1974 Washington quarter holds secrets that only the sharpest eyes and most passionate collectors appreciate. From unique mint marks to rare mint errors and pristine condition coins, this quarter has stories that elevate it from mere currency to a prized collector's treasure. Let's start by setting the stage for the year 1974. America was experiencing a period of significant social and economic change. The Vietnam War had recently ended, Watergate was making headlines, and inflation was beginning to creep up. Amidst all this, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins that reflect both the stability and the ongoing evolution of the nation's currency. The Washington Quarter had been a staple since 1932, honoring the first president of the United States with a dignified profile on its obverse side. The design by John Flanagan was intended to capture the essence of George Washington, steady, strong, and emblematic of American ideals. This design remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the most recognizable coins in American history. On the reverse side of the 1974 quarter, you'll find the iconic eagle with spread wings perched atop a bundle of arrows and olive branches beneath it, a symbol of America's strength and peace. By 1974, the quarter was composed of a copper core with a cupronickel cladding, a combination introduced in the mid-1960s to replace the silver quarters of earlier years. This change reflected broader economic shifts and the rising cost of precious metals. Now, when discussing 1974 quarters, mint marks become an important part of the story. That year, quarters were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia quarters from 1974 generally have no mint mark. Denver quarters proudly bear the letter D on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. San Francisco quarters come with an S mint mark and are often part of proof sets, coins struck with extra care and detail for collectors. Most quarters from 1974 aren't particularly rare in terms of sheer numbers. Millions were minted at each facility, making them common in circulation. However, what makes certain 1974 quarters incredibly valuable isn't just the quantity but the quality and rarity of specific variations or errors. Let's talk errors, because in the world of coins, mistakes can be pure gold. One of the most sought-after categories is the proof error coins from the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are supposed to be flawless, but sometimes, errors slip through. These could be double dies, where the design elements appear to have a shadow or double image, or planchet errors, where a coin might be struck on the wrong metal blank or with off-center alignment. For collectors, these errors make the coin unique, and uniqueness equals value. Additionally, some 1974 quarters have doubling on the date or the lettering, known as double dies, which can add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to the coin's value, depending on the severity and visibility of the doubling. Another fascinating aspect collectors look for is strike quality and condition. Coins that emerge from the mint looking as perfect as the day they were struck, sharp details, full luster, and free of scratches or wear, can command astronomical prices compared to circulated examples. That brings us to grading, which is how experts evaluate a coin's condition. The Sheldon grading scale ranges from 1 to 70, with higher numbers meaning better condition. A coin graded MS 65 or above is considered superbly preserved and highly desirable among collectors. One reason some 1974 quarters are so valuable is that very few have survived in such mint condition. Most quarters pass through countless hands, wallets, and cash registers, enduring wear and tear that greatly diminish their collector appeal. And here's an intriguing note: some 1974 quarters have been found with unique mint mark placements or variations in the size and shape of the mint mark itself. These subtle differences can add layers of rarity and intrigue, especially for seasoned collectors who specialize in Washington quarters. You might be wondering, how much are these rare, error, or perfect condition 1974 Washington quarters actually worth? While most common quarters might be worth their face value or just a little above, the rarest and best preserved specimens have stunned the collecting community. In fact, certain 1974 Washington quarters, particularly those with rare proof errors, double dies, or exceptional grading, have sold at auction for prices that will blow your mind. The highest echelons of these coins have recently been appraised and auctioned for a jaw-dropping $198,000. Imagine that, a single coin you could almost overlook in your change holding the value of a luxury car or a down payment on a house. It's a powerful reminder of how numismatics transforms everyday objects into priceless treasures. So, what does this mean for you? If you find yourself sorting through your coin jar, don't just glance at your quarters. Look closely at the date. Check for a mint mark, and inspect the surface for any unusual doubling, off-center strikes, or odd features. If you come across a 1974 quarter that looks especially sharp, has a mint mark anomaly, or shows any signs of error, it could be worth getting professionally graded and appraised. Remember, preserving your coin is critical. Avoid cleaning it or handling it too much, as this can damage its surfaces and drastically reduce its value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin lover, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar is a fascinating chapter in American coinage history. It represents a snapshot of a pivotal era in the United States and holds the thrilling possibility that what seems ordinary might just be extraordinary. Today, we're journeying back over half a century to explore one of the most intriguing coins from the United States Mint, the Washington quarter dollar from 1967. This coin, while seemingly ordinary in your pocket change, carries a story full of history, design brilliance, and rare minting details that make it a true gem in the world of numismatics. Stick with me all the way to the end, because we'll uncover just how much this classic piece could be worth, an amount that will surely surprise you. Let's start with the backdrop of 1967. The United States was in the midst of a transformative era. Social change was sweeping the nation, music and culture were evolving rapidly, and on the financial front, the country was dealing with a shift away from precious metal coinage. It was a time when the mint was phasing out silver coins due to the rising value of silver itself, which made circulating silver quarters a costly affair. That brings us directly to the 1967 Washington quarter, a coin that is historically significant because it was part of the post-silver era. Beginning in 1965, quarters were no longer made from 90% silver but instead from a clad composition of copper and nickel. This shift was monumental. It meant that quarters, including those from 1967, were more affordable to produce but also became less intrinsically valuable in terms of metal content. The Washington quarter itself is a tribute to America's first president, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the obverse features a dignified portrait of Washington facing left, framed by the inscriptions, "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the year, 1967. The reverse side features the majestic bald eagle clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace, a timeless emblem of the United States. Now, mint marks play an important role in the story of the 1967 quarter. That year, quarters were minted only in Philadelphia and Denver. However, here's a fascinating fact: quarters from Philadelphia in 1967 do not carry a mint mark, while those from Denver are marked with a small d just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. There was no San Francisco mint production of quarters for general circulation that year. San Francisco quarters were typically reserved for proof sets. Despite the relatively high mintage numbers in 1967, millions upon millions of quarters were released. Some 1967 quarters are highly prized by collectors today due to their condition, rarity of certain varieties, and minting anomalies. What truly separates the average 1967 quarter from a valuable collector's coin is condition. Most quarters from that era saw extensive circulation, leading to wear, scratches, and loss of detail. But coins that were either preserved carefully in collections or never entered circulation can achieve exceptional grades, making them stand out to collectors. Another layer of interest lies in minting errors. While the 1967 quarter was produced in large quantities, minting errors such as doubling on the date or letters, off-center strikes, or unusual metal composition variations occasionally occurred. These error coins are often extremely rare, and when authenticated, they can command a premium in the market. Collectors are particularly attentive to what's known as doubling errors, where the image or lettering appears duplicated or shadowed due to a misalignment during the die creation process. A double die 1967 quarter can fetch a significantly higher value than its standard counterparts. Similarly, coins with die cracks, planchet flaws, or misplaced mint marks can attract strong interest. The grading system also plays a crucial role in determining value. Coins graded at MS, mint state, 65 or higher exhibit exceptional preservation and luster, with crisp details and no signs of wear. Such coins are exceedingly rare from 1967, given the decades of circulation that have passed. An MS-67 or MS-68 1967 quarter could be considered a near-perfect specimen, and collectors compete fiercely to own such pristine pieces. Now, let's talk about the actual value. While the average 1967 Washington quarter might be worth its face value or just a few dollars for collectors, rare mint errors, proof-like specimens, and coins in exceptionally high grades can reach astonishing price points. In recent years, top-tier examples of the 1967 Washington quarter have sold for impressive sums at auction. In fact, the most exceptional and rare 1967 Washington quarters, especially those with verified mint errors or ultra-high grading, have been known to sell for as much as $190,000. Yes, that's right, this seemingly ordinary coin could be worth nearly $200,000 if you have the right one in perfect condition or with a rare mint anomaly. This is a powerful reminder that coins we might overlook in everyday life can hold incredible value, history, and intrigue. So, next time you come across a 1967 Washington quarter, don't just toss it in the jar, examine it closely. Look for mint marks, check the condition, and consider having it professionally graded. That little coin might just be a treasure waiting to be discovered. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating piece of American numismatic history, the United States Washington quarter dollar from 1973. This coin might look like just another quarter in your change, but trust me, it holds secrets and value that go far beyond its face value. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know why some of these quarters are worth an astounding $110,000. Let's rewind to the early 1970s. America was going through a time of transformation, culturally, politically, and economically. The quarter, featuring the iconic portrait of George Washington, had already been a mainstay in American currency for over 4 decades by 1973. The design, created by John Flanagan, has become one of the most recognizable and beloved in U.S. coinage history. The obverse of the 1973 quarter shows George Washington's profile, an enduring symbol of strength and leadership, surrounded by inscriptions including "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the year 1973. On the reverse, you'll find the proud American eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both war readiness and peace. Now, about the composition. By 1973, quarters were no longer made of silver but of a copper-nickel clad, a change that began in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver. This new alloy made the coins more economical to produce but also marked a shift in their intrinsic metal value. Mint marks are key to understanding the 1973 Washington quarter's collector appeal. That year, quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia quarters typically don't carry a mint mark, Denver quarters bear a D, and San Francisco quarters, primarily proof coins made for collectors, are marked with an S. At first glance, you might think a 1973 quarter is pretty common since millions were produced. But here's where it gets exciting. Some 1973 quarters are rare and highly sought after, particularly those in exceptional condition or with minting anomalies. Condition matters immensely. Most quarters you find have been tossed around in pockets, vending machines, and cash registers. But some have been preserved with incredible care, kept in mint state condition, almost as perfect as the day they were struck. These coins have sharp details, full luster, and no signs of wear, making them extremely valuable to collectors. Beyond condition, error coins from 1973 add a thrilling layer to the coin story. These errors might include doubling of the date or letters, known as double dies, off-center strikes, or even misplaced mint marks. These mistakes occurred during the minting process and make the coin unique. Collectors treasure these rarities because they are one-of-a-kind anomalies, often fetching premiums far beyond the value of regular coins. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, made with extra care and mirror-like finishes, are particularly prized. Some 1973 proof quarters have known mint errors or unique characteristics that add to their allure. Collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers reflecting better condition. Coins graded MS 65 or higher, meaning mint state with minimal flaws, are incredibly rare for the 1973 quarter, and their value skyrockets compared to worn examples. So, how much can these quarters really be worth? Well, a typical circulated 1973 quarter is worth just a few cents above face value. But for those pristine, mint state coins, especially with verified mint errors or proof quality condition, the story is very different. In recent auctions and private sales, some of these exceptional 1973 Washington quarters have commanded jaw-dropping prices. The rarest specimens, with perfect grading and unique mint marks or errors, have sold for as much as $110,000. That's right, this small coin, so common in daily life, can be worth more than a luxury car or a down payment on a house, depending on its rarity and condition. So next time you find a 1973 quarter, don't just see it as a simple piece of currency. Take a closer look, check for mint marks, examine the date carefully, and assess its condition. If you suspect you have a high-grade coin or something unusual, consider having it professionally graded. You could be sitting on a hidden treasure worth a fortune. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an exciting coin discovery. Happy collecting, and may your next quarter be worth $110,000.